That's correct.
The October 13th meeting of the local planning agency of the City of Dunedin will now come to order. The local planning agency is an advisory board of citizens appointed by the City Commission. This board is comprised of volunteers who represent the thoughts and concerns of the community. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to make recommendations to the City Commission regarding each item on the agenda. Tonight we will be conducting a public hearing. Therefore, this meeting is open to the public. Anyone in the audience who wishes to give testimony to any of the items on the agenda will need to be sworn in by the Deputy City Clerk, Lydia Burt. This swearing-in process will occur after tonight's first agenda item, which will be the approval of the minutes from the last LPA meeting. Please be aware that this local planning agency is not a quasi-judicial board and therefore has no final decision-making power. Our procedures, however, are structured in a quasi-judicial manner for the benefit of those who come before it. Tonight's format will be as follows. I will introduce each item on the agenda, after which the city representative will present information about it. Thereafter, the members of the local planning agency will respond to the city representative. Finally, anyone from the public may come forward. Those from the public wishing to give testimony will need to approach the dais, identify themselves, and then utilize the speaker's lectern in order for their comments to be recorded. Upon the conclusion of the public hearing, the local planning agency will consider the evidence before it and will vote on the agenda item. That voice vote is the rendition of the order of the board, and there will be no written decision issued by the board. For the record, Dennis Alspa is absent tonight, and his absence is excused. The first item on tonight's agenda is the approval of the minutes from the September 8th, 2021 LPA meeting. Are there any corrections, additions, or deletions to the minutes? I have identified a few that I have spoken with our Deputy City Clerk, Lydia Burt, about, and she has made those corrections. So having said that, I didn't want to take up your time tonight with those. She's already made those corrections. Are there any others? Do I have a motion to accept the minutes as corrected?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as corrected. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by the same sign. Thank you. The motion, the minutes stand approved as corrected. Our Deputy City Clerk, Lydia Burt, will now swear in all persons wishing to speak to or give testimony to tonight's agenda items.
Oh, yes, please raise your right hand. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give is proceeding is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes.
Second item on our agenda tonight is application AN-LUP-ZO21-10, annexation of the 43.44 acre Gladys E. Douglas Preserve located at Keene Road and 1900 Virginia Avenue into the City of Dunedin to include land use plan and zoning district designation. Has anyone had any ex parte communication regarding this application? Hearing none, I'd like to turn this over to Mr. DePasqua.
Good evening, Joseph DePasqua, the Assistant Director of Community Development on behalf of the Community Development Department. Application you're considering this evening is a combination of annexation, placing a land use plan designation on the property, and then ultimately a zoning district designation. It's application 21-10. The property I think most folks are familiar with is the Gladys E. Douglas Preserve. It is owned by the City of Dunedin. The applicant in this case, of course, is the city. The city manager made the application, and of course myself and Mr. Kinney are the representatives for the city manager's office. She would have been here tonight. She has another meeting, but I think she's left it in hopefully our capable hands. The petition, again, applying for annexation, voluntary annexation on behalf of the city for the Gladys Douglas Preserve. I do have a few slides I'd like to, I'm sure you're very familiar with the site, but I'd like to, if I could walk you through, I've got some aerials of the site and then some maps of what the site is. There is some unusual nuances about how it's situated, so I just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And so if you'll indulge me, I'd like to just walk you through a presentation as I do the staffing. So here's an aerial vicinity map. As you can see, the property is located off of Keene Road. It's actually just east of Keene Road, north of Virginia Avenue. It's actually two parcels we're talking about here. The first one is basically a Keene Road address, hasn't been given a physical address. The second one is 1900 Virginia Avenue, and that's the one that does include some buildings on it. In total, they're 43.44 acres. The larger parcel is 33.24 acres. The smaller parcel is about roughly 10.2 acres. They are separated by a right-of-way, actually known as County Road 36. I think that's probably a little surprise. It almost just looks like a driveway, but it actually is a platted county right-of-way. And so the next aerial I've provided to you shows you that separation between the two parcels. It's a 50-foot wide right-of-way, runs the length of the Keene property, and then narrows to 30 feet for the balance of the Virginia Avenue property. Again, property size is about 43.44 acres in total. The existing flood zone for the property is, it's a combination of flood zones. I provided a flood map. I'll jump to that. So you can see, here's the current flood insurance rate map that went into effect late in August. You can see the property is located by and large in an area of special, of minimal flooding, excuse me, so it'd be outside both the 100-year and the 500-year. The yellowish color is what's called the X-shaded, or it's within the 500-year, but outside the 100-year. And then there's the portion that is synonymous with really the preservation area, and the lake is in the special flood hazard area. It's in zone AE, elevation 47 feet. Here's again just an aerial showing facing the east. Just give you some idea of where the property is situated. You can see Jerry Lake there in the background. So the next map I'd like to go over is just to give you some idea of how the municipal boundaries work for this property. It's a little bit unusual because while it's in unincorporated county, it actually has, from this map, you can see you've got Dunedin to the east and to the north, unincorporated county to the east and to the south, and it actually abuts also the city of Clearwater to the south, which is that palish green-yellow property. So I just want to give you some idea of how the property is bounded. So moving into the land use plan, currently the property in the county, you can see the large parcel, parcel 1, is in residential suburban. The smaller parcel is mostly in residential low, and then a portion of it is in the preservation land use category. We are, of course, recommending that preservation stay synonymous with the way it is today, and I'll get into that in a minute. We're not changing the bounds of that preservation area, so that will stay the same, but the land use on the balance of the property, we are recommending a change to. This will give you an idea of the current zoning in unincorporated Pinellas County. You see the entire parcel is residential agriculture. Both parcels are the same zone at the moment. One other factor that you probably are aware of, because when the city acquired it, there was a requirement to put a conservation easement over the large part of the sensitive property. There's a rosemary bald area that is that inner circle, and then there's another sand pine scrub area that a conservation easement was recorded over top of. So I just wanted to give you some idea what that looks like on that larger parcel. Doesn't change anything about what we're talking about tonight, but I want to let you know that was part of the conditions of acquiring the property. And as you know, the property was acquired on behalf of the city with contributions, large contributions from Pinellas County and a number of folks who contributed to the purchase of the land. So here's the city of Dunedin, our future land use plan map. And of course, you're only seeing colors on the area that's currently in the city. So to the west and to the north, you see the Dunedin Cemetery is an institutional land use category. These properties obviously show up white because they're not in the city yet. But you can see to the north of the cemetery is residential urban, which is single family. Across the street to the west is, of course, residential urban, you can see as well. There is commercial limited, that small purple parcel there that is used for an office use. And there's some residential low medium and some residential medium to the southwest as well. So here's what the city is proposing to do, and this is simply taking those two parcels and showing you that we are suggesting after annexation, of course, after this all occurs after annexation, we're recommending recreation open space over the lion's share of the property. All of parcel 1 would be recreation open space. Parcel 2 would be, of course, the majority of it would be recreation open space land use designation, and then following those same lines that is currently preservation in the county, we would put it in the city's preservation. So this will give you an idea of what the map would look like after annexation. And then the zoning district map, this is our current zoning for the property. You can see the cemetery is MPL. That is the most common zoning for large tracts of city-owned property, especially parks. And so that's what we are recommending for this property, taking the zoning and carrying it across both parcels in their entirety. So to recap, we are recommending for parcel 1 that you take the existing, we change the existing, after, of course, this is after annexation, take the existing residential suburban and replace it with recreation open space. For the smaller parcel 2, we are recommending taking the county's residential low and preservation and designating the part that's residential low to residential recreation open space, excuse me, and then keeping again that preservation the same as it is in the county. And then again, following annexation, we are proposing to place the to replace the residential agricultural district in the county with municipal public lands, or MPL, and the same with the smaller parcel, taking it from RA, residential agriculture, to municipal public lands. From a procedural standpoint, as you know, the first step is annexation, placing the land use designation and the zoning. In this case, because we are changing the land use, what we will do after first, if it's approved, to recommend for approval by this body this evening, it will go to all 3 ordinances would go to a first reading. That is scheduled to happen November 4th in front of the City Commission. If approved, then the city would transmit the land use plan amendment to Forward Pinellas, which is the countywide planning process when you change land use. We expect that process to take into late this year, probably early next year, to get approved at the countywide level. Obviously, they're aware of this. We've already had discussions with Forward Pinellas. They're aware of our plan. They're aware that this application is going to be coming forward, and it'll return back upon approval by the countywide planning authority to the city for second and final readings of all 3 ordinances, probably in early January 2022 is what we're anticipating. Some of the county scheduling is not completely ironed out that far, but that's what we're anticipating. So having said that, the staff recommendation is to approve the application, including ordinance 21-32 for voluntary annexation of parcel 1 and parcel 2 into the city of Dunedin. And also approve after annexation ordinance 21-33 to designate parcel 1 as recreation open space, ROS, and parcel 2 as recreation open space and preservation as shown on the exhibits on the city's future land use plan map following annexation. And then finally, ordinance 21-34 to designate both parcel 1 and parcel 2 as municipal public lands, MPL, on the city's zoning, as city zoning district designations. And with that, that ends the staff report, and certainly be glad to answer any questions you may have or about any of this and any of the exhibits provided.
Thank you, Mr. DePasqua. Are there any questions? Mr. Massero?
Who's in control of the lake?
Oh, boy. I believe the lake is, the city attorney may know better because he worked on the plan, but I thought the lake was owned by either the county.
Swift Mud.
Yeah, somebody I know. Yeah.
And there looks to be like a green area to the north of the lake. Yeah,
Yeah, go back a few.
yeah, yeah.
This is
Okay,
your
that's
widest
good.
angle here.
No, where you've
What
got
ab-
the green zone for the.
Yeah, there's a green zone there. Is that all under control of SwiftMud? Do we know?
Which-
The
Which
preservation.
property are you talking?
He's talking about the preservation zone.
No, you're talking about all the green north of the
Yeah, I'm
lake.
north of
talking
the
about
lake.
It's all Swift mud, I
lake
believe.
Property north of it. I'm
Yeah,
talking
it's,
about
what I can tell you is that property is not currently in the city of Dunedin. So if it's not owned by SwiftMud, it's not in the city, and it's not part of this, yeah.
Okay. So does any of the properties have access to that lake? Any of the private property have access to the lake?
Any of the
Surrounding
I'll
it?
be honest,
You
Mr.
don't
Massar, I don't know what property
Okay.
rights are for the surrounding areas.
Yeah, I know it's got nothing to do with this. I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
kind
I
of
don't.
curious.
Dan, I'm pretty sure that the lake is fenced all the way around.
Yeah.
I know it is on the Weathersfield side.
Yeah.
You know, no, you're not, you don't have access. Now, on the east side, I Googled it, and I couldn't really see a fence line, but, you know,
Yeah, that's the
there's some
Barrington
houses pretty close
hillside.
to it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Walensky. Are there any other questions of staff?
I did. Joe, what happens to County Road 36? Is that vacated, or is that?
No, there's no plans.
Annexation has no effect on right-of-way.
No,
But the
we-
public, there's no access to the public on that. I mean, if I said I
No.
want to drive on County Road 36, well,
It is a public right-of-way. It's a-
Yeah,
it's a
it
county
still
road.
remains a public right-of-way in control of the county, and it doesn't landlock any county parcels. It's still annexation does not change ownership or maintenance or responsibility of right-of-way.
So when the
It's like
Douglas
it's
family
like
put the
white
gate
noise.
up at Virginia,
They
we
weren't-
we could actually open the gate and go back there because it wasn't their
No,
property.
that's out of context, and that's not even what we're talking,
Well, no, they have a gate there
there were
on
There
County
were
Road
that-
36.
That is getting into a level of, there were vacations of that right-of-way that went through the middle of the property that predated, and that were all addressed in the title of acquiring property, of the city's acquiring title to this property, and that was no longer a public right-of-way when it was fenced.
So it's not a public right-of-way.
Virginia Avenue that went right through the dead middle of the property that was locked by a gate hadn't been a private right-of-way for several decades after it had been vacated. That's totally different than the county road that's developed that surrounds the property that we're talking about.
I'm confused.
I am too, because there's only one road on that,
Yeah, there's-
on that side, and
And it's
it's,
gated.
Are
It
you
has a gate on
talking
it.
about the middle strip?
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That
There's
was
a gate on
conveyed
that
as
right
part
now.
of That was conveyed as part of the legal descriptions. That
Understand that.
was previously vacated.
But it is and still is a
Previously
public right-of-way.
No, it was previously vacated,
I drove by today and there's a gate on it.
because it was previously vacated.
Okay.
It was previously vacated decades ago. It was previously vacated.
County Road 36 was vacated.
Then how come that is not shown as part of these two parcels?
This is a parcel map that, I don't know where this data came from, but I can send you the property survey. I mean, that's what this is going by.
Property survey's in here.
We have the property survey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we were just more curious that if it was a county road and it's had a gate on it, how did it have a gate on it if it was a county road for all these years? But it sounds like she answered it.
wasn't. It
'cause
was
vac-
vacated
Yeah, no,
decades ago.
That's what I was trying to finish that. I
Yes,
thought.
yes, that's what I'm saying. That was vacate, and I'm not, this is, when I'm referring to the survey, I'm talking about the survey that was the transfer of property. So that's what was vacated.
What confuses me is that we're talking about rezoning and re-land use designations for the parcel 1 and parcel 2, but we're not discussing that parcel that's in between them, that's whatever that 30 or 50 foot
It's not
wide.
really, there's not a parcel in between them. They completely touch. If you look at the actual legal boundary of the survey that the city purchased, they completely touch in the middle. There is no longer a right-of-way in the middle.
If that is so, then I think these documents need to be corrected in order to show that properly when it's presented to the commission.
You mean like this
Thank you,
parcel
Mr.
map
Graham, I
we're looking
Yeah,
at?
the parcel maps.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Because-
confusing.
And Joe, you said it's still there though, but it's been vacated, so why is County Road 36 still referenced?
I can't speak for why the county GIS system reflects it that way.
Because looking at that map, it looks like there's a public access, even though I know we've heard many
Yes, it
times
does.
it's vacated.
I think
Someone
what we
could
can.
drive up that-
What
that
we can do
road.
after tonight is I certainly can talk to the city attorney, and if we need to revise these exhibits prior to first reading in front of the commission, that's not a problem.
These are meant to be pictorial exhibits, so I was not understanding that that was where some of the confusion was coming from, but you have sufficient information to make your decision tonight. We had to do an attorney's certification of title of the entire land boundary that we're talking about. That's included in your backup. That'll be presented to the city commission. And if this is just a lag in updating GIS mapping, that could be it. But these are just pictorial evidence. They're not a survey. We do have the survey. That's what the attorney's opinion of title was based on. And the lines come totally together in the middle. There is no gap in what the city purchased.
So-
Thank you for
I
your
can s-
clarification, but based on the fact that all 7 of us have had this information in front of us, that is our interpretation. And I'm sorry if that offends you, but this
Oh, not
really,
offensive. I'm
this
just
is
trying
something
to
that
be
we
clear.
are familiar with enough to where people have Googled it and been by there and seen a gate and all this other stuff, and we see it clearly here. This is the only evidence that we have to be able to work with.
In the attachment, it does have the legal description. It has a survey on here, and the survey does clearly show that those two properties abut one another. I can't really read some of the stuff that it says. It says,
Formerly County Road 36.
Yeah.
And it was quitclaimed to the Jerry Lake Trust, and then it was transferred. There was a whole loop of things, but that
It
is the
says so
exact
right-
exhibit.
it
Thank you
says
for
right on
finding
here.
it, where they come directly together in the middle. And I
Right.
appreciate that. And I don't take any offense. I just wanted to make sure it was clear. And when you said County Road 36, I was actually thinking of County Road 1, which is what borders it. And there are county properties, though, that get to their property by County Road 1. And so we don't landlock those by any annexation. So I apologize. That's the county road I was thinking about. But that one in the middle, it does not exist. It hasn't existed for decades.
I agree. I see that on the survey now. What I think is the city staff needs to redo these parcel maps that they've got so that get rid of the double lines
Yeah, just a single.
and then
Yeah, just-
have it match the
Ju-
survey.
Just for edification, I can update all the illustrated exhibits to basically close that gap between those two parcels. However, I think as the city attorney would say as well, just so you know, the exhibits that are provided, other than the parcels maps, the legal descriptions are directly out of the attorney's title opinion. So the legal exhibits are fine.
I agree.
The legal descriptions are fine. Unfortunately, the maps just need to be changed, and I can do that.
Yeah,
We can
agree.
re-describe that. I'm not sure, when you snap on these parcels, I'm not sure whether the county's still showing that at all levels of their GIS system as well as ours, because we're not tied into, it's not in the city yet, so we've got to rely on their mapping. But yeah, we can correct that. That's not a
The
problem.
county's not infallible either.
Absolutely. No, and it's good that you pointed it out. It's good.
Hey, Joseph, I don't want to spend that much time on, but just real quick. What's been the preliminary talk of how this will be set up? Are there trails? Is the public going to be able to use that lake? Do you have any,
I don't, no.
Okay.
I haven't been involved. I think the Parks and Recreation Department and whatnot are
Okay.
working on that.
The other question I have has to do with those conservation areas within the parcel 1 primarily, I guess. How is that going to be handled? And is that going to be handled as part of this annexation, or is that going to be something that's done after the annexation?
It's already been recorded. I'm
It's already
simply showing
recorded.
you what was recorded.
Okay. Okay.
Joe,
As a condition of the purchase that
Property.
was required by the county.
can you bring up the floodplain again? So the floodplain and the preservation map kind of reflect, well, no, actually, they reflect each other pretty closely. So the area that's in the yellow is the preservation area, I guess. Is that coincidental, or?
No, I think what you're looking at is the area that is blue is relatively synonymous with the boundaries of the preservation area. But the
Right.
area that's in yellow is the buffer between the floodplain
Right.
and essentially out of the floodplain. It's that 2% chance area.
That's about a 25-foot.
It's, you know, it would be like looking at a coastline. Typically, your floodplain stops where your coastline,
Right.
you know, not far from your coastline. So
Okay.
it would be the same.
They're really close to each other, okay.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions of staff? Hearing none, at this time, I'd like to open this up to the public. If there is anyone in the public that wishes to speak to this application, now would be your opportunity. Anyone in the public that wishes to speak to this application, this would be your chance to come forward. Hearing no one coming forward, is there a motion? Remember, we have 3 that we are making recommendations to, recommending annexation for parcel 1 and 2 into the city of Dunedin. We're recommending, and that would be ordinance 2132, we're recommending approval for ordinance 21-33, designating parcel 1 as recreation open space and parcel 2 as recreation open space and preservation on the city's future land use plan. And then ordinance 21-34 to designate parcel 1 and parcel 2 as municipal public lands zoning district following annexation.
Before you ask further, can I say something?
Mr. Yes.
I just, you know, want to mention, and I know there has been a lot of people involved in making this happen. This is a real asset to Dunedin. I think it's terrific. And everybody that gave money or had any pushing to the county or pull in the county that helped make this happen, I think it was one of the best things that's happened in Dunedin. So this is really great. This is super. It's almost sad that we have to bring this up and discuss it on a legal, and I know we got to do that. It's just like, why would we even think not to approve any of these, okay? So,
I'd like to also add that, I'd really like to thank the Showerman family for the $2 million contribution they gave. It was the only contribution larger than Mr. Macero's.
Yeah.
With that said, I'd like to make a recommendation for the approval of ordinance 21-32, the annexation of this property.
Is there a second?
I'd like to second it with the statement that I think that the maps be corrected as we discussed.
I agree with that.
Okay, so with that amendment to the recommendation, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Okay, is there a recommendation for approval for
I'd like-
ordinance 21-33?
I'd like to make a recommendation for approval of ordinance -21, or 21-33.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded to recommend approval for ordinance 21-33. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And those opposed by the same sign. Is there a motion to recommend approval for ordinance 21-34?
I'll make the motion for approval of ordinance 2134, zoning district designations.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to recommend approval for ordinance 21-34. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed by the same sign. Thank you. All those have been recommended for approval unanimously. I'd like to move on to our open forum, if anyone on the board has anything that they would like to discuss in that regard.
I did.
Questions?
Joe, projected groundbreaking of the Gateway
Of the what?
project.
I don't know. I don't know if the developer has a date yet.
I think it was about 3 months ago, we had a project come before us called Isles on Bayshore. I guess I've sort of left that the guy was going to come back the next meeting. Has there been any update on Isles at Bayshore?
You're correct, yeah. The item was, I believe, in front of this group I want to say it was July. And since then, we've been working with the applicant on some design changes based upon some of the policy direction that they received here and from staff. And at this point, I don't have a return date, but we will obviously bring that to you once they resubmit some revised stuff to us. There's been a lot of dialogue, but we haven't received a formal resubmittal yet.
And the third one, I think the Times is going to run an article tomorrow. Could you bring us updated in the current status of that fire? It's gonna, I think it's going to hit the papers tomorrow about the articles about the breweries and possible problems with the water. Can you tell us about that fire?
I could not. No, that's something the fire department would have to talk about.
Okay, so what's going to hit the papers tomorrow? That's
It's already in the paper. It was online today.
that's what I mean. So it'll probably come out tomorrow. Is that, yeah?
Yeah, I
didn't.
Please don't misunderstand. My lack of, has nothing to do with this. There's probably people that know a lot about it. I just don't. It's just not within the purview of community development. Yeah, it'd be a fire issue. And I'm sure our communications department is aware of it and all that, but I apologize, I'm not. Yeah. The same way they wouldn't know when the Isles of Bayshore is coming back. So.
Joe, do we have a start date for the Skinner Avenue renovations?
The Skinner Boulevard?
Yeah,
improvements?
Boulevard.
We don't, again, these are stuff that are outside. We're not really the point department. What I've heard Bob Ironsmith say is that they are looking to move it into, I think they moved it up maybe one fiscal year, and they're trying to even accelerate it beyond that. But I think, it's possible fiscal year 24 or fiscal year 25 is what I've heard. But that's just, I don't know that for sure. Certainly Mr. Ironsmith would be the person that could answer that.
How about,
Sorry, I don't have a lot of answers for you this evening.
maybe Jim could help answer this question. What's happening with our project on Douglas and Main?
I'm not sure what we're talking about.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, that project's been resubmitted to the city. There is still some traffic issue that's being worked out that's been submitted, but there's some additional work or additional questions that have come up from the traffic engineer. And so those were going to be added to the submission within this next week or so.
Did it change the concept?
No, it didn't change the concept. They just asked the city only requires a certain number of days for the traffic study to be completed, to be based on. And what the traffic engineer that's doing the review asked for additional days be added to this because of the size and scope of the project, which wasn't in the original application or asked for in the original application. So it was an additional information that the city wanted. So or the city traffic engineer wanted. So we're providing that. And so we had to have our engineer do additional work to get
So
that.
it's still moving forward?
Moving forward, the whole
Yeah,
goal
it's-
is to have it
it's
here on
tentatively scheduled
November.
for your next month's
LPA,
yeah.
I mean, our November meeting,
Your
and
November
then the
meeting.
city in the second city commission meeting in November and the first one in December. They want to get the property closed before the end of the year for whatever reasons that they have to have it closed by the end of the year. Something to do with taxes.
My last question, how are we doing with our government center? I see walls coming up.
It's moving along. It's moving along.
everything-
Yeah, they've had a couple early morning pours. They've had to do some large concrete pours. And it's moving along. I understand it's on track.
Good.
Good.
Oh, how about Pioneer Park? When's that going to open?
I apologize. These are not necessarily projects I have the inner pipeline on. So
We should ask Bob.
or if you pre-submit something, I'd be happy to query staff and bring the answers to things for you. Certain things that our department we're not the key people on it. So sometimes we just don't know the latest information and certainly don't want to share something we're not 100% sure is accurate.
Any other questions of staff? Open forum
Actually,
questions?
I don't have a question. I have more of a statement, something I kind of prepared. I'll have to read it because I kind of wrote it about a week ago. While I do not have a Facebook account, it's been brought to my attention that there's been discussion about the LPA on Facebook. It's been stated that many members of this board in the development industry that we work in or represent has benefited from our position both on the board and on issues brought before us. I found this personally offensive, as I have participated on this board a long time as a resident and community member in a volunteer capacity. I have not received personally or professionally any benefit whatsoever. I just wanted to make that very clear for anyone who thinks otherwise.
Where was that?
Oh,
Where was that
I'm not
posted on
familiar with this
Facebook?
at all. I certainly haven't benefited from being on TV.
I'm sure he is watching.
Was it posted on?
It's just on Facebook, some group that's on Facebook that loves Dunedin, and I think it's a great group. It's got its moments out there, but I just found that kind of offensive to think that we benefit financially, personally, or in my job. I have never done a roof for any project in the city of Dunedin that's ever come in front of me, and to make that statement was unfounded.
I heard about that article today. Someone brought it to me. Thank you for sticking up for all of us.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
thanks.
interesting.
He also went on about term limits too, but I won't even get into that because we've vetted that out here for many, many things, and he was kind of misspoken on some of that. And we're all term limited. We'll all be off here sooner than later.
Yes, because the pay is getting worse instead of better.
Yeah.
No vacation
You
time.
didn't get your raise?
Thanks. I just,
Thank you, Adam. Thank you for
That's-
drawing that to our attention for those of us that hadn't been aware of that. Anything else for open forum? I do want to let you all know that our next meeting will be clarified that it's November.
Attorney want to say
Yeah, but I want to get,
Yeah.
she wanted me to do everything until
Or I'll let you, I'll let you go through your normal
November
process.
10th is our next scheduled LPA meeting, and it sounds like we're planning on moving forward with Mr. Graham. So 6 o'clock here at City Hall. And before our adjournment, I'd like to turn this over to our city attorney, Nikki Day. She'd like to share some information.
Hello. So thank you for giving me some time, Madam Chair, and thank you all for your good work today. I completely agree with a lot of the comments about what a positive step forward this is for the Gladys Douglas property, and I just apologize for injecting any amount of confusion into your discussion. So I hope that was made very clear afterwards. So I appreciate you all participating in this process and serving in the valuable role that you do as an advisory body to the City Commission. And as you all know, because you're the body that works most frequently with it, the city manager asked me to make a presentation to you this evening, just a little bit about some elements of the city's comprehensive plan that was adopted. You all worked very hard on the rewrite to the comprehensive plan with Francis Sharp and the Community Development Department and their team, and the final updated Strive for 35, isn't that what it's called? Comprehensive plan was fully adopted by the City Commission on Thursday night. It was then sent back to the reviewing agencies, and they have only 5 business days to get back to us, which is technically tomorrow, but we haven't heard anything yet, right? So as of that point in time, it will be fully and finally adopted. So congratulations to all of you on that hard work in rewriting the city's comprehensive plan. Through that process, you all received most of the training of any of the other advisory bodies on what the comprehensive plan does and how it's your constitution for development within the city, but that it's also a broad policy document. And you've probably looked over the years at how specific projects fit within that policy document. And I would let George and his staff speak more to that aspect, because that really is more of a planning function, about how they view and read that document as a whole. And on a project-by-project basis, you all have probably noticed that sometimes when you're looking at a specific project, there's no one way any one project is serving or even sometimes relevant to all 9 elements, or certainly all of the goals and policies and objectives of the city's comprehensive plan. So sometimes there can be a struggle with applying those principles. The city manager just wanted me to talk with you specifically about a few principles that you may be seeing in upcoming developments, and that's why I'm here this evening. So in particular, with regard to the city's comprehensive plan, which is specific to the city of Dunedin, you all include, as I mentioned, so the city's comprehensive plan as the overarching document truly applies to all development that is occurring within the city. And individual projects, as you see, are sort of smaller parts of that whole. And the Dunedin comprehensive plan, since at least 2008, although likely before that, I think it might have even been in 1988, has stated objectives and policies to evaluate development for physical compatibilities with your surrounding environment. You may have heard this previously referred to as Objective O, but it's now referred to, or now it is Objective 2.9 of the new comprehensive plan. And you all are likely familiar with a lot of the terms because you all advised on the revisions to the comprehensive plan over the last year, or actually before the last year, because you all did your work in adopting it at the beginning of fall. So really when we're talking about consistency with the comprehensive plan, that's a fundamental element of all development within the city, and you'll likely hear in staff's presentations, opinions, and determinations on consistency with the comprehensive plan. Some projects may advance some goals or policies, while others, or at the same time, having no effect or opposite effect on others. So Dunedin's comprehensive plan, again, has specifically 7 stated objectives and policies for compatibility. They range in terms of subject matter from height, architectural features, historical aspects, natural features, existing land uses, residential densities, and economic uses. And you all receive the text of these when you're applying them. So I didn't want to go deep into the weeds at the end of your meeting tonight and prevent you all from being able to catch an early dinner with your families. But I wanted to make a comment on 2 particular categories to be aware of when you're applying these criteria. So first, the asterisk is next to the existing land use application. And then the second is with regard to additional criteria. So this is not the end of the story. So the comprehensive plan sets a lot of the general policies and objectives, and then the land development code is the implementing document for many of the details that get filled into the regulations. The land development code actually currently includes some things related to the use category, as well as many others, design standards and other things that you apply. But in particular to the additional criteria, I note it because the city will further adopt, develop, and administer criteria in its land development code specifically related to Objective 2.9. So I wanted you all to be aware that that will be coming. Those regulations are something that would come before this board for a recommendation, and that continues to be part of my recommendation as the city attorney that that process continue and additional criteria be added into the land development code. The second item that I wanted you to be aware of is with regard to its application for use, and specifically as to use, the city's land development code already does define and require that if a use is permitted as a matter of right within a particular zoning district, then it is deemed compatible with other allowable uses within that zoning district. So this shouldn't be used as a tool to, for example, examine whether a use that's allowable is for some reason undesirable. And then in particular, there is an additional area of authority, and the city's comprehensive plan criteria actually has been challenged once or twice, which you all have likely heard about. It was challenged in what's called certiorari appeal, which goes to our civil court system. We're going to go back into your Schoolhouse Rock days maybe and remember some of our principles here, but I'm not meaning to speak over anyone's head. Just a reminder though, our circuit court system is the level above administrative bodies with decision-making authority, such as the city commission, such as other boards which have final decision-making authority, but that's the circuit court. And then above the circuit court, there's a district court of appeals. And then above the district court of appeals, there's the Florida Supreme Court. And that's as high as our state system goes. And then you have a federal system going on over here, which is sort of all layered on top of each other. But the point being, the city's objectives in Objective O have been challenged and have been upheld by that circuit court appellate division. So that does have some binding and precedent for the city. But it's specific to the city. It doesn't apply to other cities. It only applies to our city. But then above that, the 4th District Court of Appeal in 2018 said, a use permitted as a matter of right in the zoning district is per se compatible with surrounding uses. So a court above that circuit court, of that civil court, at some point has said when you're looking at use, if it's an allowable use, it's deemed compatible. It's per se compatible, which is the language that's Latin, which means you don't need to prove anything else to make it deemed established. So lawyers and law enforcement officers use that term per se a lot, but that's what it means in case anyone wanted a Latin lesson as well. But those are some areas I just wanted you to be aware of, and why you might see staff, as you're looking through the criteria, they might say, well, why do they look at use as compatible? And it may be because of one of these principles, because we do have some authority that says when the use is compatible within the zoning district, we have to treat that as compatible. But there are 7 other different criteria that you'll be asked to apply, and there's going to be no way that I can answer every hypothetical about those criteria in a hypothetical situation. So I'm going to give you some principles. When you're asked to apply them, stick to the legislated criteria that you're asked to apply. Those are found both in your land development code and in the comprehensive plan. And base your decision, as you always do, because you serve as a recommending body to the city commission in a quasi-judicial capacity. You all run your meetings in much the same way, even though you're a recommendation. And that's a good thing to do because it provides good, supportable evidence for the city commission to consider. In fact, your role in the process is considered part of the competent substantial evidence that the city commission can consider in making its final decision. So it's important that when you all are applying these, that you continue to make your decisions based on the testimony and evidence that's presented to you in this room. That can be the factual testimony of laypersons. It can be the opinion testimony of experts. Experts are generally people who have a recognized expertise in a particular field that's relative to your decision. That's obviously you hear from experts pretty frequently, but that's going to be individuals such as planners, engineers, property appraisers, and other professionals often qualify as experts in these types of decisions. But opinion testimony by the general public typically does not constitute competent substantial evidence on matters that are technical in nature. So I know you all are aware of those standards and you apply them consistently with your reviews, but I just wanted to remind you that as long as you follow that in conducting and examining individual projects, then you'll continue to do a great job. And I know that Jennifer wasn't able to be here tonight, but I do know that she wanted me to offer her appreciation for all your service, your volunteer service, your thankless, countless hours that you all spend poring over the details of these decisions, and to your point, receiving no compensation for it, and oftentimes probably receiving the opposite. But I know that she wanted me to also express how thankful she is for all of your time. And these slides will be available. Of course, if you ever have any specific questions, you can always reach out to the staff liaisons. We'll work to get you whatever information that you need before your meetings, if we can. And I hope that this has been a helpful overview.
Is it something that you can just email each of us? Mm-hmm. I think that would be helpful. That way we each have our own.
No problem.
How much of this has to do with Objective-O?
Well, most of the policies and objectives with regard to physical compatibility with existing surrounding circumstances are found in what's now 2.9.
And it is staff's responsibility to bring these issues in their scope of work that they present to us.
You all should be receiving analysis of compliance with the comprehensive plan with each of the decisions that you consider.
Right. And I know in the past, we have been warned by the city attorney about the opinions of professionals in lieu of an individual that comes up crying about some issue that is a personal issue or is impacted personally by it. So we've had that direction. I think it's good direction, especially when you have a very controversial issue to discuss, that point be made so that we all find comfort in the decision that we make and that we're making it on the proper grounds.
I appreciate that.
And that we're not making those decisions to benefit ourselves.
And absolutely, yes. And you all know too, and I know you all received training on this, and this isn't the things that are talked about either, but you all also know that if any of those situations come up that do apply to you all under the state ethics code, you know you can call the staff liaisons, you can get advice on that. There's processes for how to deal with that, even if you do come up into a situation where you didn't realize it, but your employer is going to be doing a project and you need to abstain or something like that. There are processes to deal with that. And we know that you all received the training on that, but I know sometimes the public doesn't realize that you all received that training and that you're very aware of the different forms that you would need to comply with, and that hasn't even come up for this board, so.
Well, and Chair Brand brings that up at every meeting, and we wouldn't lie to her.
I know, I
We
know.
respect her way too much.
Thank you, Matt.
It's always, it's a good check though, right? It's a nice little
Yes.
temperature check and a pulse in, because it is important work that you all do.
You know, we don't even feel like we can talk to each other outside of this, you know, I mean, we're talking through glass right now, but we're being televised, but other than that, we really have no communication. Even out in the public, we don't run into each other or make plans to get together or anything. I mean, we're really conscientious about our position and our voluntary position. So, thank you. Thank you for what you've shared tonight, and thank you for emailing that to us.
Madam Chairman,
Yes.
if I could make a comment, I appreciate the presentation, and I assume we're going to see lots more in the future. But if we were going to have a presentation of this nature, I'm sure there are members of the public who would have been interested in hearing what was here. And I really think that something like this, if we're going to have the presentation, should be listed on the agenda. And if there are going to be a slideshow or however we're going to handle it, documents to back it up, that should be on the agenda for the public to see also.
That's a very good point, Mr. Roberts, and I'm not sure why it wasn't. Was this something,
I'm not sure. The city manager asked me to be prepared to present at both the ARC and this meeting. I don't set the, there's nothing, I mean, this is not an item you're taking action on tonight. So I can appreciate that, and any member of the public is certainly also welcome to watch this on the video. I'm sure it will not be the last time that it was discussed, but it's also, you know, I wanted to be sure to stick with the city manager's schedule this evening, even though she wasn't able to be here to present as she was with the ARC, but both of those are public meetings as well, and the public is welcome to view them.
thank you, though, Mr. Roberts, for drawing that to our attention, because there are some people that wouldn't necessarily be able to be watching this live or having computer access to be able to see it, you know, next week when it's more convenient.
And my primary objective is to talk to each of you.
Right.
I mean, I appreciate that the public will absolutely be able to view this as well. That's why it's a public meeting. But I wanted to be, and so I appreciate you all having me tonight. And
Oh, it's nice to see you again.
and the
We've missed you.
well, it's conflicts most of the time with some of my other meetings. But and Carolina's great too. So I hope you've enjoyed getting
Well,
to.
Isabella was too, so
Yeah.
I mean, we really appreciate your stand-ins.
We've
but
got a
it's nice
great
to see you
team.
again.
And the only documents too, by the way, are just the PowerPoint, and I have, the city already has a copy that's a public record, and I'm going to make sure each of you get them individually as well.
Thank you. Any other questions or thoughts to,
But just, let me continue just for a second. You talked about our responsibility earlier and how we try not to discuss things out of the meeting,
Right.
et cetera. And one of the things that appears is clear to me is that we have folks in this community who follow what we do. And they would be interested, just as they were during the process of the comprehensive plan, where we had discussions here that did not result in a vote or a recommendation at the time those discussions took place. But it was listed on the agenda, and there were documents around which we had a discussion. I'm only suggesting that if we're going to have discussions like this, that we should list them and let the public have an opportunity to see and know what's going on in the process of the work that we do.
Based on the open forum, because the city knows that I always ask for open forum. This was something that we were told we could do back when Mr. Rice was here. You
Well, I'm
know,
talking
is
about
that-
a specific presentation like this.
Okay.
I mean, if we're going to keep open forum as a part of the meeting, I mean, we ought to at least list it as open forum for
Well,
members'
right,
comments
no,
and stuff.
I've asked for it. I don't really know why it's not showing on the agenda. It has been something that I've requested. Maybe Lydia Burt can talk to Joan about that. I really
I
don't
will
know why. I
definitely
guess
speak
it's
to Joan.
because it's just really the purpose of this is for those of us to ask staff questions that might not
And then if
be
there's some
something that
things
they
that are
have
going
the
to be,
answers
that are
for.
going to be discussed in the open forum.
Right, we don't
We
know.
know ahead of time that can
Right.
be listed as
We
part of
don't
the
really
open
know
forum.
who's going to be asking a question.
And something that we heard tonight was send those questions in before the meeting. I didn't realize we were allowed to do that, and I apologize for putting you on the spot with the fire. So I guess I didn't realize that. I didn't realize we were allowed to go to the staff before the meeting and
Well,
prepare.
and this is evolving into something bigger than I think what originally was thought. You know, what I recall was always wondering what was happening to the whiskey cartel. That was the big question at each meeting.
Well, I do
So-
have a question, since this has come up, going to staff. Isn't, it's my understanding, unless I'm incorrect, if something comes up on this agenda and we've read the staff report, are we allowed to talk to staff prior to the
You're allowed to
meeting?
reach out to the staff liaison with questions that you have before the meeting, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm glad we said yes, because I've done that quite a bit.
I've done that too.
Well, I guess to clarify, as long as you email the staff liaison individually and not include,
Right,
rest
no,
of
not
the
each
members
other, none
on
of
the
none of
email.
your
No,
questions for each
no,
other,
They're
no.
one-on-ones.
Yeah,
Right.
just
Right.
one,
Just
yeah,
one-on-one with the staff.
absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
It's a good chance to ask these questions, though, if you've got anything that you're needing to have clarification on, now's a chance, for sure. Anybody else? Anything else? Okay, then I'm looking for an adjournment motion.
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
So moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed by the same sign. We will unanimously adjourn, and thank you, everyone that's
Great to see you all.
been here tonight. Happy Halloween, and
Oh, thanks.
Oh, that's true, I won't see you.
So I can read out of the bottom of them. I got
I mean, you
so
guys
sick of
can
like
email
going
me.
this all.
Thank you for watching this City of Dunedin government meeting. If you'd like to review any part of this meeting or watch any previous government meeting coverage, you can watch these meetings online anytime through the city's website, dunedingov.com. Stay connected with everything Dunedin. Follow the city on this channel and on the city's Facebook page, through Twitter, and on the city's YouTube channel. Thanks again for watching this Dunedin television production.